In order to improve your relationships, or and all relationships are based on who? Based on who? Yourself. That means you will not let somebody who doesn't fit your model of thinking in your life. Say, for example, this guy or this girl comes in your life and they're honest and they're true and they would make you happy forever, but you're not used to that. You know what you'd do? Say, you're just too daggum boring. I don't have anything to relate to you with. And then you have another guy comes in and he's just like your mother or your father or your brother or your uncle, whoever it is. Then all of a sudden, it just feels comfortable. I mean, it's just sparks are flying. And of course, they always say they weren't like that when I first met them. You probably trained them, right? All right. Some of you may have seen this before, but this is a fact. In order for you to get something better, in order for you to have a better loving relationship, in order for you to become more spiritual, if you believe in spirituality, in order for you to be emotionally happy, there are several things that must occur. And it always occurs. We're all on different paths and we're all on different levels. Of course, when you come into this world, they, whoever they is in your life, are teaching you and programming you to be like them. That means if your mom has jealousy issues, anger issues, lonely issues, rejection issues, or your father, or your brothers, or your sisters, or somehow you magically created these, they're going to pass down their best. That means it's going to go in you, you're going to watch them do it, and then all of a sudden you're just going to be picking up the stick as if it was a cigarette. You've seen the little kids do that, don't you? You do the exact same thing. You keep repeating the pattern. The only way you're going to ever outgrow that is you have to let go of one major The only way you're ever going to outgrow that is you do one major thing. But you must, there's a level to getting to that one major thing. First of all, you must understand that you must take full ownership of self. Now, of course, if you don't take full ownership of yourself, you're always going to blame who? It was my mother's fault, that's why I'm screwed up. It's my past, that's why I'm screwed up. It's my current boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, my current girlfriend, my ex-boyfriend, that's why. Right? So when you start taking full ownership of self, you have to also begin to understand that within yourself, there's what they call the power of the mind-body connection. Now, what does that mean? Power of the mind-body connection. A few moments ago, I asked you to remember a time you felt love. Now, you went inside your mind, and as you went back inside your mind, you began to look and you found something, and all of a sudden, it became real in your body, didn't it? And your blood pressure and your heart, your kidneys, your liver, your spleen, all your organs began to manifest after the mind. And so what we want to understand is the power of the mind-body connection. Now let's think about it. If you're angry and upset, that is because of the power of the mind-body connection. Why are you angry and upset? Because one, we realize I'm the one doing it to me. Full ownership, right? Isn't that the key? Now again, even though you know this part, even though you say, I know it's my fault, I know it's all me, and yeah, I know it's my body and my mind, and that's not going to solve your problems. You realize if you know this, it doesn't solve your problems. Isn't that right? Okay, so here you're taking ownership. I understand it's me. All right, I realize it's because of my mind, my body. I don't know why I still have the problems. I'm still doing it. The second part is you must make peace with everything in you. With everything in you. You must make peace with everything within you. Now, what does that mean, make peace? You know, we talked about earlier, we're talking about when you go to a memory, and within this memory, you're creating it, you're manifesting it, and you're remembering something. And say you're playing a movie. You're watching this movie inside your mind. You're watching Dad or Mom or you and somebody, and as you play this memory, you feel it. All right? So each and every character, each and every memory within your mind is you. Now, if you're playing this memory and it's not a good one, I suggest making peace with it. Making peace with it means, I forgive you, Dad, I forgive myself, but you still play the memory, you didn't make peace with it. That means, what I believe is when you make peace with it, you actually do what the Bible says, what Jesus said. Not necessarily the Bible, but Jesus. And what he is saying is making peace with the enemy, and the enemy is within us. So when you turn it over to God, you turn it over completely where it's not within you. Does that make sense?
So that would be the release?
That would be completely releasing all and every emotion attached to it. That means it will never play within you ever again. Truly turn over to God. You don't know how many Christians I run to and said, oh, I gave it to God, and I found out they were lying. I mean, they just were bawling and angry and pissed and bothered because they held it. When you turn it over to God, it's God's. This means it's not yours anymore. And turning it over to God means this, doing what God would do. What would God do? So when you make peace with it, that means 3 or 4, make peace. Forgive. Forgive. Now, forgiveness is not saying, I'm sorry. Forgiveness is not saying, whatever. Forgiveness is truly, let it go. It happened. Big deal. It's over now. And 5, become non-attached. Non-attached. It's not me anymore.
Non-attached?
Non-attached. It's not me. It's just something that happened. I know it's made up. I've told the story. Some of you may or may not heard it. The story about my father beating me with a hammer. It was a real story, but now it's not. It's a fairy tale. It's not real at all. It's just all made up. At one time, it was real. Even years after, it was real. Until I did this process right here. I made peace with it. Completely changed it. So the real deal with all this stuff, you're truly doing what? You're truly letting go of what? Well, definitely memories, but what are you truly doing? Well, triggers, definitely triggers. You're truly letting go. 6, truly letting go. I can't even spell. I can't even write this way. Go of Pain. Pain. This is what you're looking for. Releasing the pain. Now, pain is also hurt, sadness, fears, rejections, abandonments, betrayals, and anything else that is not healthy, that's not pleasurable. Does that make sense? All right. So this is the process in which you want to get to the top of this pyramid. All right. These are the different levels of love. You hear what I'm saying? These are the different levels of love. How do you get to this top part? 1, you release the pain. Now, how do you release the pain? You follow the process. Now, the process is truly making peace with everything within you. Making peace with every character that you interact with. Making peace and releasing the pain, forgiving, being non-attached, and truly letting it go. That means the character, which will probably be your father or your mother. Usually, that's where it all began, I think I worked with a couple of young children. Like one of them was 6, the other was 9. And one of them had big time, let's see, what do you call that? Crud. Linda, what was that called that boy? Switched it backwards. Yeah, really severe, like 96% dyslexic. Teachers, he'd write his name in the snow completely backwards. I mean, they said chronic dyslexic, And of course, they call me and I'm working on him on the phone. And then we started cleaning all this stuff, and I worked with him again, and I worked with his little sister. And it's a funny thing, because I know, most of our problems, we're kids, where they come from? Our parents. No shit. Because,
Or whoever raised you.
well, it could be, whoever raised you. But usually, most of us are raised by parents. So here it is. How are you going to move up? You're releasing, letting go of pain. Releasing, letting go of pain, you're addressing emotions, you're addressing the memories, you're addressing the experiences, you're addressing the relationship with your mother, your brother, your boss, your coworker, whoever it is that pushes your buttons. Isn't that right? As you do this, what happens, you'll naturally start to evolve. And the more you evolve, the healthier your life is, the better your life is, because you are in control emotionally. You hear what I'm saying? It's all about the emotions. All of it. If anybody ever really read what Jesus talked about, he's talking about emotional intelligence. That's it. He never used the word sin either. Did you know that? Some of you may went to church. Do you know he never used the word sin ever? Sin came into existence and when King James translated it, and Jesus used a phrase. You're missing the mark, is what he said. You're missing your divine potential. And what really he's saying is that you're missing what you're supposed to do. That's it. Just a mistake. Make adjustments. When you start making the adjustments, letting go, you start to evolve. If you think about, any issue that you will have breaks down to how do you know you have it? It's an expression in the body. You feel it. Stress is the leading cause of death. Stress is the leading cause of relationship problems. Stress is the leading cause of illness. 75 to 90% of all doctors' visits are stress-related complaints. Stress is what he was talking about. He called it expressions of the body, lust of the flesh. He called it was translated, probably be translated as sin. You're making a mistake. That's it. So if you start releasing, if you believe in this stuff, if you start releasing, even if you don't believe even if Jesus never existed, it doesn't matter. This here makes good sense. And the interesting thing is, you start letting go of your stresses, your pains, and all your worries, guess what happens to your life? It's hard to feel bad. Unless you work hard at it. You have to work really hard, because if you start tapping on this stuff, you're going to have to dig deep, find it. You're going to have to start going to family reunions to find problems. Seriously. Does that make sense? I'll tell you this. I'll use this. This is what happens. This is the structure of problems. Let's say, for example, this big event, this emotional thing happened to you, okay? And we're going to do the emotional level of this. From 0 to 10, 10 is really big. All right? So whatever your father did, 5 years old, okay? Now, when you're 10 years old or 15 years old, 20 years old, when you go think about it, it's like, boom, you don't even go there. It's a 10. But then you start going to therapy, or you start writing stuff and burning it, and you try, and let's say it dropped from a 10 to a 9 or 8.5. Now, the structure with problems is problems has its layers. And it'll take a lifetime if you don't understand the structure of problems. That means it could lessen over 30 years. But I prefer 30 minutes. It'll save you lots of time, lots of money, lots of effort. But you have to have something that is thorough and addressing the entire system all at one time. That's what this does. It's a clean, concise, clear way to make deep, profound inner shifts. The key is truly releasing the pain, and you'll find the pain inside the memory. Changing the meaning and internal representation of that memory will completely change your life. Period. That's the key. Now, of course, when I first started this work and I started getting people getting mad at me because I wanted to screw up with their bad memories, then I found out that's where the problem is. People didn't want to let go of their pain because they thought they would lose their identity. I said, funny thing, you pick bad things to create an identity with. What about all the good things? Why don't you focus on those? Does that make sense? So what it is that we're knocking layers. Now, I've had people who've been in therapy for years. Matter of fact, they're therapists. What? Sorry, my pronunciation isn't very well. And they said, I've already dealt with that. I said, okay, let's just make sure. Guess what? They cried the biggest over the ones they thought they dealt with. They did deal with it. They kept it right here. And we want to do it when we go back, and you can never, ever make it bother you again, even when you try. That's the key. Now, if you keep them all there and you use this as a program to create an identity, you're going to have that identity. That's not a good identity. So we want to go back, clear it out, clean it up, make peace with your inner self. And the only way you're going to do it is you go to the memory, period. If you don't want to go to that memory, well, enjoy. Because the saying that I use, memories buried alive never die. They will show back up in another pair of shoes, usually in a bigger, more uglier way. Now, that also happens the exact same way in the positive, too, by the way, guys. Good memories buried alive never die. They keep showing up. But I will tell you this, if you got a dog fight between two dogs and the mean dog you've been feeding and playing with a lot more than the good one, guess which one's going to win? The mean dog. Guys, you're going to have to start playing with the good dog a little bit more. And what I mean by playing with a good dog, you need to get your happy journal out. You need to start practicing feeling good. You need to start focusing on good things. You're making a point to go feel good for no apparent reason, other than you choose to do so. Now, if you start doing that, your life is going to naturally change. Which one? Happy for no good reason.